Hi everybody, Erica Serwin here, and I am here to give you a training on online and to-go classes. This is something that Rhonda and I have worked really closely on over the last 3 years, and it's dramatically changed my business. And I know she has talked to us about that as well, how it has changed her business too. This is something that has allowed me to reach into other parts of the country and move beyond my local group, which is really good for me because it frees up more time with my kids. I quit my full-time job as a teacher 3 years ago, and I needed to make this job work. So I knew that my one club and my local class here and there was not going to cut it. I had to expand my business. And so doing classes this way, the first year doubled my sales, and the next year they almost doubled again. So it's been huge for me. So Rhonda asked me to kind of share with you guys some things that I have been doing in my business that works for me, and some things that she actually has taught me, and some things that we've worked together on to discover. So I'm going to switch my screen over. Hopefully you guys can see it. I have made a little slide for you. Well, it's not PowerPoint. I'm on a Mac. I forget what it's called, but I've made a presentation for you, and I want to make sure that we have it all in view because I know in the past I've had it accidentally cut off, and we don't want that. Okay, so online classes. What are online classes? Online classes to me mean two different things. I have two versions of what I consider an online class. First is a to-go class kit. So basically think about a to-go class as your local class to go. It's that simple. I include product in all my classes. To make a class worth my time, I need to make sure that I am not basically giving away the farm. You know, for 10 bucks, I'm not gonna, if I charge them 10 bucks, I'm not gonna make anything, really. So my classes always include product. For me, I typically design a class around a stamp set. So it'll include a stamp set. It also includes the supplies. So like you see in the picture, I have cut, scored, sorted, everything like I would for a class, and I pack it up and send it out in a kit. The main difference, besides obviously the shipping, is that this class has to have a PDF instructions to go with it. This is the biggest component when you decide to go into online or to-go kits or whatever. You've got to commit to actually teaching the class. You can't just send them some random stuff and hope that it works. That wouldn't be teaching a class. So that is one of the biggest components that we're going to talk about for to-go class. Another online class that I have done and I'm really enjoying is an online video series. Videos are becoming a much bigger part of my business. I hate making videos. I'm not gonna lie. I hate it every single time. But I've learned how powerful those videos have been for my business. So I've sucked it up and I have started really doing tons of videos. So an online video series is a class taught through videos. Basically, instead of me typing every step-by-step direction in PDF, I'm doing it on a video. And it also includes the class kit. So last year I did a class on watercolor. I think a video series class is really good for techniques. So I did a watercolor, an aqua painter class, and we did, I think it was 10 different lessons, and so they had 10 different make and take packs and 10 different videos. So that you can see how that is a really big commitment too. Of course, there were also PDFs involved because you have to list all your product information and measurements and stuff that they're going to need. I also like to build in a community when I do an online video series. So I try to do a Facebook group for that specific class so people can kind of chat and ask me questions, post pictures. Everybody wants to share their stuff. So I have found that that component of a video series class has been really important and powerful for my students. They like to talk to me and they like to talk to each other, and they really like showing off what they've learned. All right, so I kind of touched on this in the beginning. Why offer an online class? Well, obviously, it's going to help you grow your business beyond your local area. If you're someone who lives in a small town and you feel like you have reached every corner of your small town and you say, I can't, there's nothing here for me. Well, this is here for you. With the internet and social media, you can reach the four corners of the United States or the four corners of whatever country you live in. Obviously, you have to remember that you need to keep it within your country because we can't sell product across borders. It gives those who can't make it an option. Do you have that customer that is super busy, that is constantly saying, I want to come, but I can't. I have Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, soccer, church meeting, oh, and they can never make it. Well, now you can say, well, you know what? I can give it to you as a to-go option. And a lot of people really like that. It also, some people don't like a class environment. I have a customer who is very quiet, and when she comes to one of my classes, there's a group of friends in there that are loud and pushy, and it really makes her uncomfortable. So she gets lots of the classes to go and does it in her own house where she feels comfortable and she's not being pushed, pushed around, and just it's kind of creates their own little protective bubble for those people who don't want to be in a social or a classroom situation. This part, the next one, has been really big for me. It eliminates time away from home and your family. I have 3 kids. They all are in different activities. My oldest one now is in numerous activities, and I'm finding that I am having a very hard time being away in the evenings, and then Saturdays as well. It just is very hard. We have stuff all the time, and they're at a crucial age. I want to be home with them. I want to be there for them. So when you do a to-go class, sometimes I offer it in conjunction with a live class, but I also every month offer classes that are just to-go classes. My calendar is full. I can't fit anything else in. So I'm going to do a to-go class where I'm going to mail it out, and I can do it in my pajamas at 5 in the morning before my kids get home or get up. I can be packing kits, or I can do it in the evening or while they're at school. It's not going to require me to take away any time from my family. And it's just a boost in your sales. Truly, one class that includes a stamp set for every person could be hundreds of dollars in sales for you. I want to point out that this is not, if you're looking for something to do that's less work, this is not it. I know when you're outside looking in on somebody's business who is all online, you think, wow, I want to do that. That sounds really fun. I'm getting a call. I'm sorry, you guys. That sounds really awesome to not have to go do classes. Well, let me tell you, I work all the time. I am squeezing in work constantly. I'm working on things while I'm watching TV with my family, while I'm sitting at a softball game for my daughter. This is not an easy, less work option. You really have to commit yourself to sticking to deadlines and to typing. I mean, typing up PDFs is a chore, and filming videos are a chore. The return is great, but you have to know that ahead of time. This is not something to do because you're looking for something that's a little bit easier or less work. So my online class pricing formula is pretty basic. This is straight out of Rhonda Wade's book of business. She taught me this, and it works perfectly. Now, sometimes I will fiddle with a few things if I'm feeling generous, or I'm feeling like this class is a lot of work for me on the front end. But this is basically how I price my classes each time, and I think kind of it's how we would price all of our classes. So of course, products. So this class right here, the Birdcage Builder card class, which is actually going to be one of your classes on Sunday. I shouldn't tell you that, but it is. Anyway, Birdcage Builder stamp set is $17. So right off the bat, I add $17 in. Then I go through and I figure out how much cardstock I'm using. Figure out, one piece of cardstock is 33 cents, so this card is half of a piece of cardstock. You guys know how to formulate all that. Break it all down and figure out the prices. This class actually includes 1/8 of the little embellishment kits, the cupcake and carousels embellishment kit. So I can get 8 people out of one kit. So I figured that in. I also figure in envelopes. When I'm doing cards, I always include the envelope. So I figure all that in before tax and shipping. That was $6.96. So I add those two together. I multiply, the shipping cost from stamping up to me and tax. So it's another $4.59. Then I am going to pay myself. If I'm going to cut, and this is going to take me 2 to 3 hours, depending on how many people I have, to cut, sort, packing up to ship always takes at least an hour. It takes a long time. So I'm paying myself $5 per person. This is where you can play a little bit. If you feel like the class is too expensive, you could come down a little bit. Or if the class is a lot of die cutting, you can go up a little bit, whatever you feel here. Shipping, I always ship flat rate. Padded envelopes are the best. I use them. They're like $6.80, or I think it's gone up a little bit. Maybe I don't know. I always say $7 flat rate shipping. Then you can't forget to add in your PayPal fee. If you're using PayPal or Square or whatever, they all charge a fee. The PayPal fee is 2.9% plus 30 cents, which is so weird, but whatever, that's what it is. So I add in $1.47. That all came out to $42.02. So I would obviously round that down and say $42. Or if they're my local customer, I call it porch pickup, and they can come do porch pickup, and I'm going to take off this right here. So it's going to be this minus $7. So that's how I figure out my shipping. This is my formula right here. Communication is crucial when you are doing online or to-go classes. Crucial, because if you don't clearly communicate, these people may not know you from, anybody. They're trusting you. They're giving you their money, and they are trusting you to follow through. So I take this very, seriously, it's very crucial. I don't want anybody to think that I ever am taking their money and not supplying what I'm supposed to supply. I don't want them to ever think that I didn't follow through on what I promised. So make sure that you clearly communicate the important dates for your class. I always communicate the deadline for registration and my expected shipping date. Obviously, there can be problems with that. There could be back orders, there could be weather, whatever, but I always say all the class kits will ship around January 26th or whatever. And in my mind, I want to beat that date. I want to mail it earlier than January 26th, but I'm telling them the latest that I think I could possibly get it all together. You need to let them know exactly what they'll need to provide to complete the class at home. What color inks they need, what additional stamp sets they might need, adhesive, whatever. Usually those are the three things that they won't get necessarily in the kit. If I try to only use one stamp set, because duplicating a class that has 10 stamp sets is going to be very hard for them. So I really try to limit it to one or two. Always, if there's some delay in shipping, email them and explain to them why. Also email them the day you ship. I always like to say, guess what, I just dropped your class off, or I'm dropping your class off at the post office as soon as I send this email. That's exciting for them, and they know it's time to start looking for that in their mailbox. Include a note in the kits letting them know who it's from. When I first sent these out, I didn't put a note in it, and I thought, what if they forgot who they ordered it from? So I keep just kind of a shell note on my computer that I can kind of change each time. And, thanks for purchasing. I emailed you the PDF. I always email them the PDF the day it ships. If you didn't receive it, please email me at this blah, 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 or call me. Thanks so much. Whatever. Just so that they know, still, look for the PDF. I didn't just leave you hanging. And also if they have any problems, they can always let you know. So deadlines, I mentioned this was extremely important. You have got to be strict with your deadlines. You need to make sure you stick to them as well. When you are self-employed, like a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator is, you're your own boss. So it can be very easy to blow off work. You get invited to lunch, but you've got to get kits in the mail tomorrow. Well, you know what? You got to skip lunch. You've got to stick to those deadlines, because that's how you build a relationship with these people that you've never met. They've got to trust you that you follow through in what you promise. So an example of my deadline timeline would look something like this. The first of the month, I announce the class details, clearly explaining everything, price, all of that. I give 2 or 3 weeks for them to register. And I always highlight it, registration deadline for this class kit is January 15th. And then I usually give myself a week to mail the kits. I like to kind of sometimes I pre-order stuff, not that pre-ordering in thinking that I'm going to have 20 people. I pre-order, so I have 5 people who've registered, and I'm putting in a club order or some other order. I'm going to add those 5 on right then, so that I can slowly start building them all up. If I know that I'm going to need pool party cardstock, I'll add that on to an order that I'm putting in. That way, I'm not waiting a week after the deadline for supplies to arrive and then start cutting. So usually I have most of the materials on hand that I need to go ahead and prep the class. And then I wait and order all of their products. Sometimes I expedite shipping, which is $20, just because I am so worried that it's not going to get there on time. I take deadlines very seriously. So what are some platforms that you can use for online or to-go classes? These are some things that I have used. Facebook groups, so easy to create a Facebook group. You can create a private group for your class, and this, like I told you before, allows communication among class participants as well as gives them the opportunity to share and create. You can post your videos on there, you can post your PDFs on there. The only problem with that is not everyone has a Facebook group. So if you're going to strictly use Facebook group, make sure you put that in the information about your class when you first publish it. Ning is a great site that I have used also. It's a really good way to control who has access to your information. They have to register with the site, just like you guys did for this Creative Convention. I think Rhonda's using Ning again this time. You have to register and then be approved for registration. So it helps to control them sharing the video links and all of that. The only thing is that it does cost money. So if you want to use it, just add that into the cost of the class. YouTube, when I upload a video to YouTube that is just for a class, I leave it as unlisted. That means I can take the link and give it to someone and they can watch it, but no one can search or go to my YouTube channel and find it. It's only for people who have the link. I've also done where I send them a PDF, and each lesson has the picture, it has the products, the measurements, and then the link right there on the PDF. They copy and paste and go over and watch it on YouTube. You can do a private blog, which I have done before also. You just create a new blog that is just for that specific class. The only negative thing about this is that it's much harder to regulate who is seeing you. You can opt out of being able to be searched for, but they can easily share the link with their friends. My last big class, I just did that because it was easy, and I know that probably happens some, but it is what it is. And it's free, it doesn't cost anything. Constant Contact or Eventbrite, use this to collect your online registrations. I love this because it collects the event fee, their address information, everything you need. Before I was using this, people would email me and say, I want your class, and then I would say, okay, let me add you to the list, and then I would send them a PayPal invoice, and then they would hopefully pay that invoice. I was losing a lot of people through the cracks that way. I would forget to add them to the list, even though I sent them send them a PayPal invoice, or I would add them to the list and not send them a PayPal invoice, or they wouldn't pay their invoice. So it was much more difficult before I started using Constant Contact. Constant Contact does cost money every month, but I hands down think it's the best money I spend every month on my business. Eventbrite is free, but it was a little more cumbersome to use, but check it out. It is a pretty good service too. DPD, Digital Product Delivery. If you want to sell your PDF all by itself, which I do, I type up that PDF to go with the class kit, And then I also list the PDF for sale because there are a lot of people out there who do not want the kit, but they do want the tutorials. They want the class information. And a large percentage of that is other demonstrators. Great, that's fine. They can pay you for that too. So I upload them to this company called DPD, and they house the PDF there. So when someone goes over and clicks purchase, they collect the money and they immediately email them the PDF, which has saved me hours of work because I sell a lot of my PDFs, and that is just a great, virtual assistant basically who's helping you out. But I always offer this. This is something Rhonda and I talked about in the beginning when she and I started working together, and I'm so glad that I started doing that because that PDF has been there for years. If somebody has a 3-year-old snap set and they go and search for it on Pinterest and see that you have a tutorial for it, they can still buy it. So that's called, I believe it's called static income, where or passive income, where you can make money off of things when you're not even doing anything. I did all the work 3 years ago, but that PDF still sells and makes me a little bit of money on the side. So, take time to type those PDFs, make them good because they can continue to earn you money later on. Shipping is very important as well. You want your class to arrive in as close to perfect condition as you can. And I can tell you that that doesn't happen 100% of the time. I have more trouble with the post office, and I know you guys probably have all had experience with the post office. I have packages that get lost. I have packages that show up empty, packages that show up destroyed. So just know that it's going to happen. And good customer service, you're going to follow through and replace that package. Just know that sometimes you have to do that as a good business practice. There's no way to prevent that trouble. Even if you went with UPS, UPS has troubles also. So when I cut my classes, on a side note, I always cut 1 or 2 extra just in case one doesn't show up. I've got it right here. I can order the product real quick, throw it in the mail to them. So that because I have had to go back before and recut a class, and that's not fun. Have to recut an entire class for one person. So like I said earlier, flat rate is the easiest and most reliable because it has tracking and it comes with insurance. I prefer the padded flat rate envelopes that you can see in that picture. You can stuff a lot of stuff in there, but you can only get these via the post office website, the USPS website, and it takes a while for them to arrive. For being the post office, you'd think they ship their product quickly, but they don't. I have to give myself 2 to 3 weeks to order those. So I order them 100 at a time because they're free and just keep them on hand. You can print your postage right from the same website or stamps.com. And you don't even have to go to the post office. You can get on the post office website and arrange for pickup from your front porch, which I love because I hate going to the post office, probably more than I hate going to the dentist. Make sure you pack everything nicely. You don't want them to receive a package that's damaged. Like I said, I've earned this the hard way. Save all that cardboard that comes in your glimmer paper and your DSP stacks, and use that in-between paper, to if you feel like something's going to easily get bent, that'll give some firm structure to that package. Use envelopes or cello bags to divide your projects. I try to put every make and take in its own envelope or cello bag, but make sure you add this cost into your make and take cost. Don't just lose money on that. Add that in. They are paying for convenience of having a class shipped to them, so include that cost. Label things as necessary. Sometimes if I feel like it's going to be hard to tell which project is which, I'll stick labels on them. And like I told you before, include a note. Advertising, also critical because you're not going to sell any if you're not advertising it. Communicate your class in lots of detail so they know exactly what they're getting. Lots of words, that way if they come back and say, well, why wasn't the ink included? You can point them back over and say, look, right here it says you need to provide your own ink. So really try to think through your description and what you need to include in that. I like to show pictures. Ron and I disagree here only because we function in different ways. And I don't think one is better than the other. I have always been the kind of person that has to get things done ahead of time or I panic. And Rhonda is amazing when she works under pressure. She just blows my mind because I would be like in the fetal position if I wait to the deadline to work on something. So it's just, you got to decide how you work. If you can design your projects ahead of time, then do it. And I take great pictures and use them as an advertising tool. Sometimes Rhonda will do one project featuring the stamp set or whatever she's going to use, and she uses that as a picture, and that's enough. She sells tons of these classes with no picture. So it just goes to show that you can do it without a picture, or you can use a picture if you feel like that's going to represent your class better. It's just a matter of preference. You want to send an email out, a blast email. You want to post it on Facebook, Instagram. I always make a flyer with a sign-up sheet at all my classes, even for my to-go classes. Send a reminder email and do a reminder post 2 to 3 days before the deadline is nearing, because the majority of your people are going to register in the last day or two. People wait to the last minute for some reason to register. So photographing your class is very important, especially in a to-go class. You're trying to teach them from afar, and a lot of times you're trying to teach them through a PDF. So make sure your pictures are really good. Go outside, photograph, buy a good light. I bought a giant light diffuser to hang up in my office for videos and photographs, and it is great. If your pictures are blurry or dark or don't show a lot of detail, it's going to turn them off because they may not understand the directions, the project. So make sure that you can communicate visually. Sometimes when I do a class, I don't want to show the pictures, or maybe I haven't completed the pictures yet, especially if it's something I think that they can just easily recreate at home. So I'll come up with some kind of graphic. And like this, I created on MDS. I know I'm old school. I'm still using MDS. Don't worry if you don't have MDS. There's so many other options out there. PicMonkey is a great one. You know, research, find a software or an app where you can create little graphics to advertise your class. There are a few big no-nos that I needed to tell you about that I have learned, you know, some the hard way. Buy it now button. If you create a buy it now button on PayPal and you put it on your blog, and it is for a class that includes product like a stamp set, you know, brand new product, you will get a call from compliance. A buy it now button suggests that you have stockpiled product in your home to send out, which is basically cash and carry. So you know we can't cash and carry stamp sets. So to get around that, and Stampin' Up! Has confirmed this is totally fine, you put email me to register, and they email you and you send them a PayPal invoice. Or you say click here for more information, and it takes them to Constant Contact registration page. Totally fine. I know it's weird. It's like the same thing, but to Stampin' Up, they don't want buy now buttons. You can include everything but stamped images. We cannot send black and white stamped images, you know, or any color stamped image unless it's on a completed project. So if you made a bunch of tags as thank yous and you sold those, that's fine because they're completed projects. I can't sell somebody a class where I have pre-stamped everything, but you can pre-die cut. I have confirmed this with Stampin' Up. It is okay. When they came out recently with the whole no selling of die cuts, it was explained to me that that meant you couldn't punch a bunch of die cuts and sell them. Here I'm selling 50 top note shapes or whatever. If it's part of a class that you're sending, that's okay. So I pre-punch, pre-cut, unless the framelits or punch is included, then I let them do that. I score and I emboss. Those are things you can do. You just cannot stamp for them. Don't give up because of little interest. I've had classes that were only a handful of people. I've had classes that were over 100. There's no rhyme or reason. I don't know why some are more popular than others, but don't give up. Continue on. Continue trying to impress your customers and to to make them happy with their class kits, and they will continue to come back and purchase these from you. So don't get frustrated. Another specific thing that Stampin' Up! Has said is that we cannot sell product across the border. So please keep your classes within your country. All right, so you need to get organized. Order ahead. I told you I do this. You know what cardstock you're going to need. You know envelopes are included. So order these ahead of time. If you're putting in an order for a class or a club or whatever, add these on. That way you'll have them and you can start die cutting. You can start scoring, all those things while you're waiting for their stamp sets to arrive. Order your shipping material ahead of time, envelopes, labels, packing tape, because like I told you, those padded envelopes, I have been in a pinch before where I realized I'm supposed to ship these by Wednesday and I haven't ordered padded envelopes. Then I have to figure something else out because they won't be there in time. So make sure you get organized and get those things ahead of time. This is one thing that works so well for me. Film your videos and type your PDFs as you design. Then it's done and you won't be scrambling at the end to get these done. Now again, if you don't work that way, that's fine, but it's just a suggestion, something that's worked for me. When I sit down to design a class, if I've made one card, I stop right then and I immediately type up all the directions and the supply list. I do the next one, I stop, type it up, directions. Take pictures as I'm going if I need to insert pictures. This has saved me so much time because I don't have to, you know, a month later go back and say, okay, what color did I use? What's the measurement on that? Where's that framelit from? I can type it as I go because it's all right in front of me on my desk. Keep really good records of who is purchased and paid, or like I told you, use constant contact. Getting a note to empty my trash can. Okay, I need to get organized, I guess. Wait and prepare all your kits at one time. I know Celine and I have talked, and she likes to prep kits and then advertise them. So she'll say, I have 20 kits. If you want a kit, here's the information, but once the 20 are gone, they're gone. I do the opposite. I take orders for kits, and then I cut all the kits after the deadline. I'm not going to cut, you know, one kit here, two kits there, one kit here. That will suck your time down so fast. So explain that when you register how you're going to do that. You're either going to cut them all together before or all together after. It is not fun having to recut classes one at a time. All right, the last thing I wanted to point out is to really work on earning those repeat customers. To earn repeat customers, you really need to wow them, surprise and delight them. When that kit arrives, you want them to be excited. You want them to open it up and be impressed with how you've packaged it, how you've organized it, how you've typed up the directions. I always try to include a little gift each time. Not 100% of the time is it something fancy. I sometimes throw in a bag of jelly beans. I get little jelly beans and throw those in just as a little thank you. But I really try to take some time to do something stamped. And all this is stamped on a circle with a scallop circle behind it, clipped to a chocolate. That's all it is. And these are kind of the same thing. Made a little pocket, put a little chocolate in. So take the time to do just a little something to kind of leave a sweet impression in their minds when they think about that class that they ordered from you. And make sure your kit and your PDF/videos are organized and delivered well. Those things will earn you repeat customers. This excuse me, this was my paper share this time, and I set aside several days to get everything really organized and packaged beautifully, and I got so many wonderful sweet emails after they received it saying how much they appreciated all that. So that spoke volumes to me that is something I really need to really focus on as much as I focus on designing the class, packaging. You know, I need to surprise and delight them as well. Okay, that's all I have for you today. I know you probably have questions and there's probably things that I haven't covered. So please let me know. Send me a shout out. You can message on here, on Facebook, whatever, and ask away. Rhonda is the expert also on all of this too. She's taught me everything that she knows, and we've worked together on some online classes, and we've figured out things that work, things that don't work. It really is a lot of trial and error to find what works perfectly for you. But I know that it can boost your business, and it can be a really positive addition to your sales. All right, you guys, thanks so much. Enjoy your make and takes and all the rest of your training. Bye.